What is up, wrestling fans? Can't believe that I'm about to do this, but today the wrestling world re- had a loss that cannot, um, that we, there are no words to describe the devastating loss this afternoon of the biggest and greatest icon in professional wrestling. Hulk Hogan passed away at the age of 71 from cardiac arrest. Paramedics frantically, for about an hour, tried to resuscitate Hulk Hogan, put him in an ambulance, and got him and brought him to the hospital, and where he was pronounced dead. And it's a gut punch for me and for the wrestling industry. You see the belt behind me, and behind me in my chair, Hulkamania, and Hulkamania on my T-shirt because he was my idol growing up. Hulk Hogan was my childhood, so this is a gut punch for me. It's absolutely devastating that this man is no more. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, the wrestling industry wouldn't be what it is today. Hulk Hogan paved the way for all the superstars. They owe a lot of gratitude, and a lot of superstars putting out statements. The WWE put out a statement saying WWE is saddened to learn legendary WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has passed away. One of the pop culture's most recognizable figures. Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extended its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. For me, that's a little bit nonchalant. They owe everything to Hulk Hogan. He put WWE on the map when he came back the second time, which I'll get into in a bit. I know he's had controversy in the past little while, and he had comments, racist comments, but today is about remembrance. No comments, negative comments about Hulk Hogan. It's about remembrance. It's about the man, the myth, the legend himself, the greatest entertainer in wrestling history, the greatest superstar, Hulk Hogan. And I saw, and how I found out about the passing was I was on my phone scrolling down, and we're live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And on my Facebook, I follow RDS, the Réseau des Sports, the French Sports Network. And I see it says in French, TMZ is reporting Hulk Hogan has died. I said, what? Go on to Google Hulk Hogan. Sure enough, there's all these articles that says Hulk Hogan has passed away. I switched to Fox News on my TV, and sure enough, it is true. I didn't think it was true because in the past few days there have been reports that he was on his deathbed. Thought it was another hoax, but it is true. Hogan's family has confirmed he has passed away at the age of 71 on a week where we lost Theo Huxtable, Malcolm Jamal Warner to that drowning, and we lost another legend on Tuesday as Ozzy Osbourne passed away from Parkinson's disease. We lost legends this week, and this I come to you with a heavy heart because, like I said, he was my idol. Now, eh, Hulk Hogan got me into professional wrestling. I remember I was 5 years old at the time, and I switched on the TV, and you can see the bell behind me. And I was flipping, and all of a sudden I came on to Hulk Hogan, this larger than life guy who I had put it on at the exact moment when Andre the Giant was challenging Hulk Hogan for WrestleMania 3. And I saw, and right away I was hooked. This larger than life persona when Roddy Piper says, "Will you or will you not face him at WrestleMania?" And he goes, "Yes." It's like the whole arena rumbled. He was larger than life, and I was hooked. He was my idol, my hero, and I was hooked. I was a Hulkamaniac, and he also has a special connection. My father passed away when I was 6 years old from lung cancer, and around that time, when I was five, we moved from one neighborhood to the other, and I had to stay at my uncle's house, my uncle's townhouse, with my sister. Because we were too young to be around when we moved. And my father, that was the last gift he ever gave me was WrestleMania 3 because he knew how much I loved Hulk Hogan and how much I wanted to see that WrestleMania. And that still stands today as my favorite WrestleMania. And so that's and all through the years, Hulk Hogan has been my idol. When he turned heel, I was shocked when my friend told me that the third man at Bash at the Beach 1996 was Hulk Hogan, but I couldn't get myself to boo him, even though he was a heel. Silently, I wanted him to win. I couldn't boo him because he was my idol, and I never met him. I had a chance to. I didn't know he was in Montreal when the Alouettes in 2008 won the Grey Cup. I went to the Grey Cup parade downtown, and I did not know that Hulk Hogan was signing autographs at that moment at the Indigo, which I was 5 minutes from. Not even. Didn't even know it. Got home, said to my wife at the time, "Did you know that Hulk Hogan was signing autographs at Indigo?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" She said, "Well, I thought you knew." I said, "If I knew, I would have not gone to the Grey Cup parade. I would have went to see Hulk Hogan." My cousin, one of my cousins, met Hulk Hogan because of the Make a Wish Foundation. I had a cousin um, that had a blood disorder, and we thought it was terminal. And he got to meet Hulk Hogan, and he said he was larger than life. You heard him coming down the hall. "Hey, brother!" You know, it's absolutely devastating. You can leave a comment on the Smackdown Still YouTube channel about Hulk Hogan. You can come here on the chat. You can send an email to SmackDown Stew channel at gmail.com, SmackDown Stew channel at gmail.com. You could comment here your memories of Hulk Hogan. And, you know, Ric Flair was taking it very, very bad. I saw an interview on TMZ with Harvey Levin that when Ric Flair was like in tears when he said, "I'm an absolute," and on Twitter, he said, "I'm an absolute shock to hear about the passing of my close friend, Hulk Hogan. Hulk has been by my side since we started in the wrestling business, an incredible athlete, talent, friend, and father. Our friendship has meant the world to me," he continued. "He was always there for me, even when I didn't ask him to be. He was one of the first to visit me when I was in the hospital with a 2% chance of living, and he prayed by my bedside. Hogan also lent me money when Reed was sick. Hulkster, no one will ever compare to you. Rest in peace, my friend." And he was in tears talking to Harvey Levin about when he, when a few stories about Hogan, when Reed, his son who had passed away, was going into rehab and into numerous rehabs. Flair was short of funds of money, and Hogan lent him the money. And when he went to pay back Hogan, he says, "You never have to pay me back." And then when Ric Flair was sick, he had a 2% chance of living. Flair's wife called Hogan. Hogan flew in, sat by his side, and talked about the Bible, and was there for him. And they were close. So it was devastating for Ric Flair. He was also in the wrestling business a nemesis of Ric Flair. Hulk Hogan was, and they had a great feud. Hogan had great, great matches. One of the greatest was with Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in front of 93,000 fans. It was unbelievable. That was the WrestleMania that my father had bought me. It was Andre the Giant passed that torch to Hulk Hogan. That was a great match. He going back. Hogan was in a band in Florida, and he would perform. Some of the wrestlers would come into that bar, and then he would train at the gym. And where Jerry and Jack Briscoe, the Briscoe brothers in Florida, would train, and they thought he'd make a good wrestler. So he asked at the time Eddie Graham. They said, "Look, bring him in. I think he's going to be great." But Eddie Graham didn't like Hulk Hogan. They had met and didn't get along at one point. But eventually he agreed, and Hideki Matsuda uh, trained Hogan. The first training session, he broke Hulk Hogan's leg because he wanted to see if Hulk Hogan would come back. When he did, he trained Hulk Hogan. Hogan made a first appearance in the WWE in the early '80s or mid '80s. No, sorry, early to mid '80s when Vince McMahon Sr. was the was the owner, Vince McMahon Jr.'s son, Vincent K. McMahon. Sorry, no, Vincent J. McMahon rather. was wrestling there under Hulk Hogan, and he had Classy Freddie Blassie as his manager. What happened was, and he was a heel. He called him Hulk because he was so big, and Hogan because he was Irish. Vince McMahon, he wanted, and um, but the problem was Hulk Hogan was asked to be in the Rocky movie. They wanted, that famous scene, Thunder Lips, in the Rocky movie, and Vince McMahon Jr. wouldn't let him do the Rocky movie. He said, "If you do the Rocky movie, don't come back." Hogan did the Rocky movie and was fired. Hogan ended up in the AWA where Vern Gagne trained him at the farm in Chanhassen, Minnesota, and he told him, "Don't even get off your feet," made him bigger, and that's where Hulkamania started. And because of a dispute over merchandise and Japan contract, Hogan left the AWA and went to the WWE, where he put professional wrestling on the map. And even to this day, if people didn't know what professional wrestling was, they know Hulk Hogan. They say, "Oh yeah, that's the thing that Hulk Hogan does." He transcended, and he was all over mainstream culture, the wrestling business. Then he moved to acting, where he did No Holds Barred with Zeus. He did Suburban Commando. He did Mr. Nanny. He did the Three Ninjas at one point. He went to Hollywood, and he transcended even into politics when he spoke at the Republican convention for his friend Donald Trump, who also paid tribute to Hulk Hogan, um, and said it was a devastating loss. But but Hogan, yeah. So he transcended. He it was he even uh, was there at the Tampa Bay Lightning games when they were in the playoffs. Talking on the mic and everything. He big sports fan, and so after WWE, he put it on the map. He had legendary matches with Andre the Giant. He won the title by defeating the Iron Sheik in 1984. Iron Sheik actually, Bob Backlund was the heavyweight champion at the time, and he refused to lose to Hulk Hogan because he felt Hulk Hogan wasn't a real technical wrestler. So they used the Iron Sheik as a bridge. Iron Sheik would beat Bob Backlund, and then he dropped the title to Hulk Hogan. Now, the Iron Sheik at that point received a call from Vern Gagne of the AWA offering him $10,000 to break Hulk Hogan's leg and bring the WWF Championship to the AWA. And the Iron Sheik said, "No, I don't bite the hand that feeds me. I won't do that to Mr. McMahon." And Hulk Hogan never forgot it. Never, never forgot the Iron Sheik for that. The Iron Sheik, and then so Hulk Hogan had legendary matches. That WrestleMania one match with Mr. T, when he teamed with Mr. T to take on Paul Mister Wonderful Orndorff and Roddy Piper, with Muhammad Ali as the referee. Snuka was in the corner of Hulk Hogan, and Bob Orton was in the corner of Piper and Orndorff. WrestleMania 2 saw Hulk Hogan step inside a steel cage to defend the title against King Kong Bundy, who is also no longer with us. WrestleMania 3, in front of 93,000 fans, he defeated Andre the Giant. In WrestleMania 4, he was part of a tournament that to crown a new WWF championship, because on Saturday night's main event prior to WrestleMania, Andre the Giant defeated Hulk Hogan for the title, but because of the twin referees, Earl and Dave Hebner, then when Andre the Giant gave the title to DiBiase, because he was paid off by DiBiase, Jack Tunney, the president at the time, stripped Andre of the belt and put it up in a tournament at WrestleMania 4. Hogan wrestled Andre the Giant to a draw, to a double disqualification in the second round, but did make his presence felt in the main event of Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase, the Million Dollar Man, where he helped the Macho Man Randy Savage win the title. Was in his corner. He hit DiBiase with a steel chair. WrestleMania 5 saw the mega powers exploding where Hulk Hogan defeated the Macho Man Randy Savage to once again regain the World Wrestling Federation Championship. WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Challenge. Hulk Hogan dropped the belt to the Ultimate Warrior, which didn't work very well. And then at WrestleMania 7, well, prior to that, at the Royal Rumble, Sergeant Slaughter defeated the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior winning the title. And then there was that storyline where Sergeant Slaughter became a Saddam Hussein sympathizer. So it was Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7, with Hulk Hogan once again regaining the World Wrestling Federation Championship. WrestleMania 8, and of course there was some SummerSlam. He was involved in the Survivor Series in that big match with Hulkamaniacs against Andre's team, and then the second Survivor Series when he was Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man's team against Andre the Giant's team, and then with Ted against the $1 Million Team at the next Survivor Series, and so on and so forth. That SummerSlam match he had where it was the first ever SummerSlam, where it was Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake teaming up to face. No, sorry, it was Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage teaming up to face Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant. Then there was Hulk Hogan and Bruce the Barber Beefcake teaming up to face Zeus and the Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, WrestleMania 8, Hulk Hogan. The original plan was for Hulk Hogan to wrestle the Nature Boy Ric Flair, but he, he was supposed to wrestle the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and but there was an issue with that. They did a match in a dark. They did a dark match on some of the house shows. They tried it at the main event on some of the house shows, and Vince McMahon didn't like the way the match went. So Flair wrestled Savage, and Hulk Hogan wrestled Sid Justice in the main event, and Papa Shango came out and got Sid Justice disqualified, and they started beating on Hogan. And who comes back? The Ultimate Warrior, setting up SummerSlam 1991, where the match made in hell, where Sergeant, when he came, actually, when he actually, I'm sorry, before that, um, the Ultimate Warrior teamed with Hulk Hogan to take on in the match made in 1991, in the match made in hell, Sergeant Slaughter, General Adnan, and Colonel Mustafa, who was the Iron Sheik, and General Adnan was Sheik Adnan El Casey in AWA, against Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior in the Ultimate Challenge. And there was an issue because the Warrior wanted more money. They wanted to kill him. Anyway, so WrestleMania 8, Ultimate Warrior makes the save. And WrestleMania 9, which was Hulk Hogan's last WrestleMania for 9 years, until his return at WrestleMania 6. At WrestleMania 18, Hogan teamed up with. He had 2 appearances. He teamed up with Bruce the Barber Beefcake to take on the World Tag Team Champions of Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and IRS, Money Incorporated. And they were disqualified. And then he made an appearance in the main event when Yokozuna defeated Bret Hart for the WWE Championship. And then Fuji challenged Hulk Hogan. And because Hogan was leaving, he was supposed to go on a last tour and all the house shows and everything. They put the title on him. He accepted the challenge, won the belt, but dropped it to Yokozuna at the King of the Ring of that year. So, and so that was his last WrestleMania. Hogan went and did Thunder in Paradise, and then in 1994, after a few months absence, came to WCW. A coup from Eric Bischoff, who asked Ric Flair, to introduce him to Hulk Hogan. Now they're best friends, Bischoff and Hogan. He joined WCW, and his first opponent, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, in his first match in WCW at the Bash of the Beach 1994, he defeated Ric Flair to become the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And, he had numerous feuds in WCW with Ric Flair, with Vader, and with the Dungeon of Doom, and, the Macho Man. And then in 1996, in a shocker, Hulk Hogan, the biggest face in the wrestling industry at the time, turned heel and joined the NWO. And like I said, I couldn't boo him. He stayed in WCW until Bash of the Beach 2000, where there was that controversy where Eric Bischoff opened his big mouth. I'm sorry, Vince Russo opened his big mouth, and and he bashed Hulk Hogan, even though the finish of that was supposed to be that, yes, Jarrett lays down for Hogan. Hogan pins Hogan in disgust, pins Jarrett, takes the belt, just throws it and leaves. And then there's a tournament to decide the title. Newfie, Mr. Zach, yes, R.I.P. brother, exactly, brother. He leaves the arena, and what was supposed to happen was the title would be vacant. There's supposed to be a tournament, and at Halloween Havoc of that year, when the two people, or when the winner is the like the winner of the tournament is crowned, Hogan music hits. He's supposed to come out and says, "I have the belt. If you want to be the champion, you got to beat me." But that didn't happen because Vince Russo ran his friggin' mouth. So he left in 2000, and then in 2000 and I believe 2002, he joined the WWE with the NWO and wrestled The Rock. Um, and that match was incredible. That match, slowly as the match went on, Hulk Hogan, like the fans were like, they started to cheer Hulk Hogan and boo The Rock. And they had no choice but to turn Hulk Hogan face. And before that, I want to mention Jacques Rougeau was talking about Hulk Hogan, how what Hulk Hogan meant to him at BPM Sports, a French radio station. And he said Hulk Hogan let him win at that Jacques Rougeau event at the Molson Center, now the Bell Center, um, that night, and he never forgot it. I was there that night and was stunned that Hulk Hogan did the job for Jacques Rougeau. You know, Hulk Hogan came in the locker room and said, "What do you want to do, Jacques?" And he says, he laughed. He says, "No, no, it's up to you." He said, "No, no, what do you want to do? You're going to win this match." You know, and he respected Jacques Rougeau. And then I was there in 2002, the day after WrestleMania 18 in Sky at the Rogers Center, the Sky Dome in Toronto. I was in Montreal the next night for Raw, and Hulk Hogan received a huge ovation. It was unbelievable, but I missed it when he received a 20-minute ovation on SmackDown. I wasn't there in Montreal after he won the belt, and then I was there when the Shawn Michaels feud. So I've seen him numerous times. But that was great. And he stayed in the WWE. He was off and on and off and on, would come down for appearances. He paid tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund when he passed away. And then there was this racial issue. But you cannot, the man put wrestling on the map. People should be thanking Hulk Hogan for putting wrestling on the map. Okay. It was, you know, people should be praising Hulk Hogan. He really, really, really put wrestling on the map. And, you know, there won't be anybody like him. There will not be anybody like Hulk Hogan. He is the man, the myth, the legend himself. And there will be nobody like him ever in the world of professional wrestling and in the world. Everybody said he was a great guy in person, when you met him, generous, you know, and yep, and yes, after losing Ozzy, we Hulk Hogan was, oh my God, in a week, two legends. Looks like the man upstairs needed legends for wrestling. A Macho Man was tired of waiting for Hulk Hogan to So he said, "Listen, bring him up, even under the giant. The gates up there, they're everybody's waiting for him. Gorilla Monsoon under the giant was waiting for him. Randy Macho Man Savage, Mr. Perfect. What a wrestling event will be held up there with all the greats that left before, and it's hard to say the late Hulk Hogan that he died. It just boggles the mind. Like, you know I couldn't like I couldn't believe it at the beginning. It just you know you don't believe it. You can't believe this happened. It's you can't fathom. It's just nobody expected this to happen. He the greatest professional wrestler. We yes, there was rumors, but even Ric Flair was shocked. Jacques Rougeau said he spoke to Nick Hogan, Hogan's son, and he's like, "Nick, how's your father doing?" And Nick says he's doing great. You know, and he says, he's doing great because he heard these rumors. And Jacques Rougeau said he was on his motorcycle and finished motorcycling with his wife, and he looked at his phone and he had thousands of messages. And when he saw that, he was stunned. Like he started to panic a bit. He called Jimmy Hart and he said, "Jimmy, it's Jacques." And he said, "Jacques, could you believe it? He's no longer with us. He's gone." And Jacques, he says, "Jacques, he loved you so much." Jacques says, "I loved him too. He was, you know, Jacques never forgot what he did for him." There's so many people that owe a debt to Hulk Hogan. Ric Flair, they were great friends. They were always friends. And, he was just, even Beefcake was devastated. They couldn't put their fight aside. It's it, like I said, to me, he was my idol, and you know, and always will be. Always be a Hulkamaniac, and this is a day that will go down in history. This is the biggest loss the professional wrestling industry ever had. Yes, Andre the Giant and people who passed away before him, but he was immortal. He was an icon. He was the professional wrestler. Putting wrestling on the map, and I dreaded this day, and all day, I had to work, and but it was very very tough. Before work, hearing the news, it was devastating. Eric Bischoff spoke to Fox News, and also basically pay tribute to Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan was actually about to start his new wrestling federation, Real Wrestling actually. Um, he was supposed to start it. Is supposed to be called. Um, it was supposed to be. It was his new a new wrestling promotion. He was it was is a new wrestling league, kind of to be like the Voice. It's like Real Wrestling. It's a legitimate sports competition that they were supposed to do. Boy, did they ever live a life. Ask Ric Flair. Yeah, Hulk Hogan's. Uh, it was it was his it was his project, and Eric Bischoff says the show will go on. He was supposed to. It's a new venture. It's going to be was called the Real American Freestyle. It was um, it was the Real American Freestyle was supposed to be the Real Wrestling Federation. Yeah, thanks, Curly. My idol growing up. What can you do? But it, it it it's yeah. It was called That's what it was called. It was be Real Wrestling and an American Freestyle, which see the coach joined forces. It's this Israel Izzy Martinez with Hogan and Bischoff to launch a new company. It's that they had the cash, the talent. It was. I know Kurt Angle was supposed to be. Kurt Angle was supposed to be one of the judges on that show. So on that in that federation. I'm looking forward to it. It's still going to happen. Um, you know, uh, I'd like to give you more information um, because Real American Freestyle has a website if you want to check it out. Um, it's their first is going to be in on August 30th in Wolstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's actually real wrestling. It's basically it's wrestling has been about grit and raw determination, but for a long time, for too long, athletes who gave everything to the sport um, have not had an opportunity to pursue professional careers. Real American Freestyle was built to change that, to provide a platform for the best wrestlers in the world. Real American Freestyle is the first unscripted pro wrestling league for the best athletes in the world. And yep, it's professionalized competitive wrestling and create a platform for the elite athletes. So that should be a great project. Um, you know, that should be a great project. It looks interesting. I will probably uh, I'll want to check that out. And they do have a TV deal. Um, from what I saw, their TV deal is Fox Nation, but it'll probably be online. You'll probably get to see it. It's going to be great, and they'll probably dedicate it to the memory of Hulk Hogan, and it's just a sad day in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, he revolutionized the sport. I mean, it is devastating because I was a Hulk Hogan fan. And tonight, I will be watching uh, Hulk Hogan matches. And look, Matt Hardy was doing his podcast, and in the middle, his co-host actually, broke in and said, told him Hulk Hogan passed away, and his demeanor just changed. It was unbelievable. So I think we're going to end it here. It's a very, very hard day in the world of professional wrestling. Hulk, I what I got to say is you shaped the world of professional wrestling, and thank you for all the years that you gave to the wrestling business and all you did for the wrestling business and all you did to entertain us, the wrestling fans who you've never forgot. And, you know, one of these days, I am actually going to Las Vegas for the week next week. Had I known, I might have decided to go to Tampa Bay to see Hulk Hogan's, the beach shop. But, you know, it is what it is. And Hulk, thank you. Thank you for all the years of professional wrestling, all the years of acting, all the years as a champion, and brought us entertainment and, you know, and all you did for the fans and the Make a Wish Foundation and everything. We thank you and tell you, rest in peace, brother. You will be definitely missed. Hulkamania will live on forever. We love you, Hulk. Good night.